was one of the people behind that big push to get a second special counsel, House Oversight Chairman and House Intel Committee member Trey Gowdy. Congressman, good to see you tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So you have, as I said in the intro, you've been defending the Mueller investigation and believing that he is handling it well. You have no reason to not believe that. So why the need for a second special counsel?
Well, Robert Mueller's jurisdiction is set out in the document that was issued by Rod Rosenstein, and it's pretty specific. He has to stay within the strictures of his jurisdiction. He can't expand it on his own. I guess in theory, Rod Rosenstein or Jeff Sessions could expand his jurisdiction, but he can't do it himself. I think the better course is to have second special counsel. Let Mr. Mueller keep looking into Russian interference. Let him keep looking for evidence of collusion, but have a separate special counsel look into decisions made and not made in 2016 with respect to the Bureau and the Department.
And that decision would fall to Rosenstein?
You know what? I'm not sure Jeff Sessions couldn't do it, Martha, for this reason. My qualms aren't necessarily the fact that it was a Russia investigation or a FISA application on Carter Page. It could be a bank robbery. It could be a human trafficking ring. I want to look at the process and the procedures and whether or not the Bureau handled things the right way, regardless of what kind of case it is. I think Sessions actually could appoint special counsel. I mean, Rod Rosenstein cannot supervise special counsel because he's a potential witness. So Sessions is recused from making decisions about Russia, but he's not recused from appointing special counsel.
It sounds he did an interview with Shannon Bream, which is going to air tonight on her show, and he basically said that. Well, let's play it, and you can hear what he said when asked about this.
I have appointed a person outside of Washington, many years in the Department of Justice, to look at all the allegations that the House Judiciary Committee members sent to us, and we're conducting that investigation.
He's talking about Michael Horowitz. He says we already have somebody doing that.
Yeah, I think the world of Michael Horowitz. I actually did not sign the letter that Attorney General Sessions is referencing, although most judiciary members did. Michael Horowitz is fantastic. He is great for looking at matters within the department, but he has no jurisdiction over witnesses who have left. You just mentioned Jim Comey and Andy McCabe. They're both gone. Jim Rybicki is gone. Loretta Lynch is gone. Sally Yates is gone. There are 24 witnesses that I've identified that Michael Horowitz would not have jurisdiction over, and he can't compel their attendance and their testimony. Martha, that says nothing about the State Department angle or Fusion GPS or anyone not in the department. So with all due respect to Attorney General Sessions, Michael Horowitz is not special counsel. All he can do is look at the department and the FBI and nothing outside of it.
I mean, I guess, one of the glaring questions is why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they want to make sure that their own entity had operated properly, and if it hasn't, want to shed light on that? And when you raise questions, as Catherine Herridge pointed out in her reporting, about the Hillary Clinton investigation and whether or not it was completely above board or whether or not there was some sort of bias shown towards her during the course of the election.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in relitigating the decision, the conclusion reached by Jim Comey, but I have a lot of interest in understanding why in May of 2016, you admitted that you had the evidence of a crime, but had already determined you were not going to prosecute. I would hope every American would ask the FBI, if you have evidence of a crime 2 months before you interview the target of the investigation, why have you already concluded you're not going to go forward? That is a fair question, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Bull Moose party. That every American should want to have confidence in the FBI and DOJ. And if they're prejudging outcomes, you shouldn't.
Well, what about, the letter talks about bias, concern about bias. Bias, we've all seen the Strucken Page emails and the text messages, but bias and then turning that bias into action is a very difficult thing to prove, isn't it?
It is. This bias, I would argue, Martha, trends towards animus. It's not simply bias. It is an overt disdain, talking about impeachment the morning after the election. And that's more than bias. That is flat out animus.
But aren't there also elements, I'm sorry to interrupt, but aren't there also elements where it sounds like they're supportive of Hillary Clinton or negative on Hillary Clinton? And couldn't they use that to balance and say, look, we were torn on this just like most Americans, but it didn't affect our job?
Well, I think the preponderance of the texts are anti-Trump. Now, whether or not they episodically criticize, they criticized Ted Cruz I think they may have even criticized a Congress, God forbid, once or twice. So clearly they had problems with lots of people, but they hated Donald Trump. And what's important about that is one of them had signed up to investigate Donald Trump while the other was a lawyer. So bias is one thing, animus is another. It is possible for that animus to impact your decision making. Look at what Strzok himself said. He had no interest in participating in an investigation that would exonerate Donald Trump. This is a counterintelligence expert who doesn't want to participate in investigating what Russia did if it doesn't result in the indictment of Donald Trump. That is an unprecedented level of animus.
Thank you very much, Chairman Gowdy. Good to see you as always.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So here now with more on